Today, the spotlight is actually on Gumuafete, where the traditional council has undertaken demolition operations that has impacted hundreds of lives, including Liberian refugees and Ghanaians. We actually have a report on that by our colleague Calvisteta, who is the Central Regional Correspondent. So let's check out this report and we will come back to delve into the issue.
Last week, the Gumuafete Traditional Council made public its intention to clear parts of the former refugee camp to facilitate the establishment of a market for traders affected by the ongoing expansion of the Kaswa-Cape Coast Highway. Subsequently, the Traditional Council commenced the demolition process within the Liberia camp. Residents affected by the exercise expressed dismay, claiming the Traditional Council exceeded the initial marked zone for demolition. They reported that approximately 600 Liberian nationals have been left homeless due to the demolition.
We spoke to the leaders, so we decided to use this area. But to our little surprise, they are now hurting residents, destroying people's homes, and we don't know what is happening. There was nothing to notice. Have you seen people are even packing? People are packing because what? They have not been informed. Nobody was informed. Well, they all knew after the meeting, we have the community radio on camp. They announced to Liberians that behind, which is Area A, down to the refuge center, it is where they are going to use to build a new market. To our latest surprise now, they have not demolishing residents. And the agreement was what it is not what they are doing now. You see, it is not what they are doing now. Where they could have focused their attention and mind was behind you and behind me, where I'm pointing my finger, but not in the direction where they are going now. We're only asking the international organization, like the UNHCR, National High Commission for Refugees, International Red Cross, the All Relief Organization, to come to Liberian aid now because it is not easy. Liberian homeless. Some have children, wife and children. They have nowhere to go. So we, the authorities on the camp, we are not directed to go and sleep on the school campus.
Leadership within the Liberian community has leveled accusations against the Ghanaian government, alleging neglect. They perceive the demolition as a deliberate effort by both the government and the Traditional Council to evict them from the settlement covertly. They argue that the demolition violates the UN Convention regarding refugee settlement.
You can't just jump and just run people homeless abruptly, all right? It's not decent at all in a civilized society. And so the High Commissioner of Liberia and the government of Ghana, they know what to do. We don't need to tell them. We are human beings that live here over 34 years. We developed this place. You understand? All that you see here is because of our present, economically, and you just name it. We cannot be run homeless. As Liberian refugees, we are still guests of Ghana government. After all, what UNHCR is supposed to do for us, they have not been done yet. Because we were told from Geneva 73 years ago, a meeting was held, that they can be demolished by international laws and local laws. But you're not applying. Why? The international laws and the local laws, why are you not applying for us? Why?
Many individuals, particularly the elderly, now find themselves more vulnerable, lacking proper shelter. Consequently, they have opted to repurpose certain basic schools within the Buduburam community for housing, citing their establishment for the refugee camp's existence.
Each and every one of us here in Buduburam Camp, I consider vulnerable. Sure. Now, for those who were preparing their meal this morning and had to rush out of their homes with all of their belongings because they saw what happened 2014 at Zone 5. They are aware. So you can imagine what's happening. So then you ask now the welfare, where do we go? That's why we have here the manager's office. The managerial office here comprised of 3 institutions: the Ghana Refugee Board, the Ghana Christian Council, and NADMO. They are here. They have seen it. And because of us, like you rightly said, the police institution was brought here. They are aware. They are the one who safeguard us. So you can imagine, where can we host these people?
All right, so we just saw the report, and it's quite unfortunate. I'm wondering how, where they will start from.
Yeah. No, there are so many questions. First of all,
exactly, so
why?
many questions. Why?
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 And
is the government aware? That's the whole thing going on through my head.
Yeah, because the Traditional Council is the one that's taking this decision.
Yes.
Right. Anyway, we do have our correspondent who brought us the report, Carvis. I want him to throw a little more light on why this thing happened. Carvis, good morning. Carvis.
Yeah, hello, David.
Yes, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you, David.
So, from the perspective of the Traditional Council, they felt that they needed to create space to set up a market?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes. The Traditional Council were of the view that, the market women who sell along the
road,
main Kaswa to Buduburam stretch, particularly the Buduburam area.
Yes.
The place gets so congested during the market day to the extent that it creates a huge gridlock. It's part of the things that create huge gridlock on that stretch.
Yes.
So whilst they are embarking on the road construct, the dualization of the road, they need to take advantage of the situation and then quickly move the market women from that portion of the road inside the Buduburam camp.
Okay.
And so sometime last week, they held a press conference to that effect. And then they had, according to the traditional authority, they had engaged the Liberian community, the Ghanaian community inside the Buduburam camp. So they decided to embark on this exercise. And one thing, among as the exercise was going on, there's one thing that both parties, when I say both parties, I mean the Liberian community, the Ghanaian community, and then the traditional authorities inside the Buduburam camp agreed to. Was the fact that that portion of space that was being demolished is one area that is called the gap. That is where most of the criminal activities happen.
Okay.
So they decided that portion must go first.
Okay.
So that portion is called Zone E. That portion have a lot of criminals. People go and do all sort of bad things and come to hide inside that portion of the Buduburam camp.
Okay.
So that was the space that they decided to demolish first before the other areas. But the Liberian community, they are saying that they are not happy because they believe they agreed on certain areas that must be demolished. But they are saying the traditional authorities had overstepped their bounds. They had moved further. And that is why they are questioning them on why they are still embarking on the demolition in those areas that they didn't say they would embark on the demolition.
Okay.
But I believe the traditional authorities are the custodians of the land, and they know, which area is fit for this demolition. So particularly the area that harbors a lot of criminals has gone now. We are hoping that it will help reduce criminal activities. And then a step further, they also demolish some structures that are on waterways and other areas. And then they are saying that, these structures should go to make way for the market, David.
Okay. So the question that comes is, yes, I understand that the traditional authorities are custodians of the land and the space, but politically, or let me say, in terms of governance, what authority do they wield to cause a demolition? Is that not supposed to be the assembly, the district assembly, and the political government of the area?
Yes, and David, exactly so, but we don't know what deliberations had gone on earlier before this demolition, because it was interesting. During the demolition, we didn't see any security person around, we didn't see any authority around. It was later that we saw the traditional authority coming around when the exercise was ongoing. Most of the journalists here questioned why, we have not seen the assembly in that area, we have not seen some authorities that matter in this area around Buduburam. And it was interesting. People were questioning what was happening and why is it that nobody is talking about this thing. But I engaged the municipal chief executive yesterday. I think the regional minister had called for the operations to stop and that they deliberate further. So I understand they went to the regional minister yesterday, the traditional authority, the district chief executive, and I spoke to the district chief executive, and he made it clear that they have asked the traditional authority to stop the demolition until they are done with their deliberations. But for now, they have demolished those areas that can be used as a market. So we are still watching to see if indeed those spaces will be used as a market as has been promised by the traditional authority.
All right, Carvis, you actually said earlier on that they demolished a particular place first just because they have the notion that a lot of bad things happen in that area, that's like an area that criminals, harbor themselves in. But obviously, we would not say everyone living there is a criminal. I'm sure there are other innocent people living there. Is there any sort of provision that have been made for those people? Especially people living there with their children, their family,
Yesterday, when the demolition started on Tuesday, after I got to the area, we spoke to the women whose homes have been demolished. We asked them where they were going. Some of them said they had nowhere to go. And, there's this school in Buduburam Camp built by the UN Refugee Board. There were, I think, 2 schools. So the individuals whose homes have been destroyed virtually took over the school because they said that school is for United Nations. So, they don't have anywhere to go. So they have put their belongings into that school. So as of yesterday, school activities was not happening inside the Buduburam camp. But the authorities are saying, the traditional authorities say they are going to liaise with the Liberian Refugee Board to see how best they will get places for these women to, put their things so that the children can go back to school. And now to the question where you asked about the area that has been demolished regarding criminals. Yes, there were some innocent people there. But from what we know, that portion of space harbors a lot of criminal, my sister. So the traditional authorities thought it wise that at least that space should be used for the market so that at least it will push the criminals away. There have been instances where, people have committed several crimes and they have been caught in that space. That space harbors, there are a lot of activities that is going on in that particular space. So the police from Accra, most of the time, had come there to arrest individuals who had committed crimes from all over the country. They come there to hide.
Wow.
Interestingly, they call that place the UN of criminal activities. There are all sorts of characters there. So the traditional authorities thought it wise that they need to demolish that portion of space first and use that portion for market. And then subsequently, they will see how best they're going to relocate the other women. But the Liberian people are not happy with the demolition. They have been staying there for so many years, and that the traditional authorities have not been fair to them regarding the demolition. They believe that they could have judged and then see how best they could have put matter to rest.
Yeah. Now, Carvis, you made mention of the having conversations with the district chief executive. The DCE says that they have asked the traditional council to put a stop to things for now. Is that the case?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So does this mean that the district chief executive's office was aware of this demolition before it started?
Well, David, we cannot tell for a fact whether the Ghanaians District Assembly was aware before the exercise started. But what we know is that when the exercise started, we didn't see any officials from the assembly there in the beginning. And yesterday I spoke to the DCA and he was saying that they had asked the traditional authorities to halt the operation, and then subsequent interrogations will be done so that they will see how best they can continue or stop the operations entirely. Even for the security apparatus, we didn't see them around that day. And the Buduburam portion has a police station just in front of the Buduburam.
Yeah. And
the police were there, they were moving in and out, but we didn't see them come there. What I heard was that some of them were in mufti and were in the crowd trying to monitor the activities and see what is happening. And David, interestingly, that is also the time for people who are dealing in scraps to also cash in.
Yeah.
They are there in their numbers trying to, pick up metal stuff to be used for their own thing. There are a lot of scrap dealers around that area, whilst people are scavenging through the wreckage to find substances that will be needed for scrap. But, the Liberian authority, from what I know, they are not happy with the demolition, David.
Okay, so let me just ask, the Liberia war ended a while ago, and the repatriation also took place some years ago of those who willingly wanted to return. You brought us stories on that and all that. But I wanted to find out, the people who chose to stay, first of all, how sizable is the community generally? And then also, do you have any idea why they chose not to go back?
Well, David, from what I know, there have been subsequent issues with this demolition. Sometime last year, this issue came up. So I managed to find out that, the government, the UN, together with the government, asked those Liberians who want to relocate back to Liberia to move. And I know for a fact that they gave them some money to move and go and settle back in Liberia.
Yeah.
Now, for those who decided to settle here, from what I know, they told them to integrate into Ghanaian communities.
Yes.
Integrating means they will not give you any money, but you wish to stay here, so you can integrate into the community, but not to stay in the Buduburam camp. But because of high cost of renting and all those things, most of them still decided to stay inside the Buduburam camp. So there are a chunk of them inside the Buduburam camp, who are going about their activities normal.
Yeah, and I find it interesting. Of course, we'll talk to the relevant authorities, but if you're going to give people money to repatriate and settle back home, then integration too has a cost to it. Reintegration also has a cost to it. So it'll be interesting to find out, if they were given monies to, rent places to reintegrate into Ghanaian society or not. But Calvis, thank you very much for speaking to us and for this report as well. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right, so we were speaking with Calvis Tete. He is our Central Regional Correspondent, and he brought us this very important update of what is happening there. We'll be talking to a few other people to find out exactly the ins and outs of what's happening here and what do we do moving forward. This thing has to be put to rest and end permanently. I think that the whole concept of post-war, arrangements is, first of all, the UN did what they usually do. They give you the opportunity to return.
Yeah.
Now, Ghana's case is actually quite peculiar in the sense that they stayed here for literally a generation. There are people who were adults who were born in Ghana.
Exactly.
I remember in 1995, I was at Legon, right? And two of my very, very good friends throughout my stay in uni are Liberians. Okay. They've both since gone back and they work in Liberia and all of that. But they were basically Ghanaians.
Yeah.
Some of them actually, one of them was actually very popular on radio in Ghana at the point, and so for me, the whole conversation, as I'm thinking about it, is I do agree that there shouldn't be an encamped Liberian community.
Mm-hmm. Because you're no more refugees, yeah.
You're no longer refugees. So integrate into the society. But that takes money.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say.
So
because
if you're going to give people money
to go back
home and help them to resettle, I think it's also fair to say that if you're asking them to decamp, that's my own word, okay, to get out of the camps, to decamp and come into regular society, they need some sort of assistance to do that. What we don't know is if they were given anything. So I'm sure we'll be speaking to Tete Paddy.
But it's a very dicey situation because even just imagine being a refugee.
Yeah.
And just imagine being born here in a refugee camp.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be very hard for you to say, I'm going back to Liberia.
Of course, because think about it.
Because you have nothing.
There are people who were less than 10 years old,
exactly,
following their parents. I know actually of a story of a family where father, mother, and children. And as they were going, the father gets a bullet in him. They were running, and they were running towards a boat, right? And just before they get to the boat, the father gets shot, gunned down. The children and the mother, two of them and their mother, got into the boat. The boat goes off, and they get into the bigger ship or boat, whatever, to head towards Ghana, right? So they arrive in Ghana, no father, but their mother and the two kids. The kids were, I think it was 5 and 8 or something, so less than 10 years old. As adults, where is their home?
Exactly. They don't know anything.
There's nothing back there's nothing back in Liberia. Nothing.
No, even if you put them in Liberia.
Where?
Where
Which
do
land?
I go? Exactly.
Which property?
Where am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to go to
Yeah.
Monrovia? Am I supposed to go to one village? I don't know
they'll be
anything.
literally like strangers in their,
Exactly.
in their own countries, you know. This is their home. Well, we have a chairman of the Liberian community on the line with us, and we're going to speak with him right now.
Yeah.
Dennis Yoko Guion. Dennis Yoko Guion, chairman of the Liberian refugee community in Buduburam, is on the line. Good morning, sir. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning.
Yes, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you so much for having me on air this morning.
All right. So, talk to us. What the situation that has happened? Were you told before the demolition began?
No, there was no prior meeting. Even we were taken by 4 a.m. in the morning.
4 a.m. in the morning.
4 a.m. in the morning. Caught me directly.
But I understand from our correspondent that the Traditional Council claimed that they've been having meetings with the community, at least a couple of meetings with the community.
Not to our knowledge. They might be in the community, maybe in their various homes, their towns, but not Buduburam. And as the leaders of the Liberian people, I am not aware of what they are doing, and they continue to do.
I see. So has the entire community been devastated, or there are some parts of the community that are still standing?
They are going about 80% demolish the community.
I see. Now let me ask you, let me just take you back a little bit.
Yeah.
So when the initial repatriation took place, some monies were given to those who chose to go back to Liberia. What about those of you who decided to stay? Was there any funding that was given to help you to reintegrate into Ghanaian society at large?
Thank you so much. Let me make your listeners to understand this, but I continue to say this, and I will say this for everybody to hear. The Ghana Refugee Board deceived those people who are integrated in Ghana. The initial promises they made, they have not fulfilled not. Before even Liberia accepted to be integrated in Ghana, the first thing they were saying that you will be given a shelter,
Okay.
your kids were to go to school free.
Okay.
And there's so many things they said.
Okay.
Before even coming back to the grain they get yesterday, 800 Citi. My brother, can 800 Citi sustain someone in this country?
Wow.
No. 800 Citi.
Wow.
The money that the party is defending on a daily basis. I don't know whether he's not ashamed of even talking those things. If you know who.
So
There are things we've been talking over and over.
Yeah.
Even the paper that they gave us, they say, waiting finalization. And all of the finalization, we've got newspaper to attest to all of these things. Promises they made. We have presented all of these things. But yet and still, they are defending their side. But they deceive us.
I see.
Okay.
So they didn't give you...
Yesterday, demolition, we were not informed, and they even took up by 4 a.m. in the morning. Everything that we had here, it was so good that nobody got killed. There was no police, there was no fire service, nobody as well. And you
I
have
see.
gangsters with arms on them.
Okay, so please stay on the line with us. We're going to talk to Tete Paddy. He is the executive director executive secretary of the Ghana Refugee Board. We also have on Zoom as well Nana Abo Ata, the second. He is the chief of Gomwa Fete. Nana, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So, Nana, what is the reasoning of the Traditional Council to do this demolition at this time?
The main reason or the main intention are two. One is the crime activities that have been going on at the Buduburam or at camp.
Okay.
I think 3 years ago we had a press conference, and then we wrote to the president, the sixth president, Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that they should come to our aid because what is going on over there is so appalling that anytime what we have been hearing from Buduburam or camp, it is not good to us. It doesn't speak good well to Fettermine as a whole. So since then, we've been chasing, been following what we did 3 years ago, that the demolition will come on, so that place we're going to put up a proper structure over there. Ever since, we've not heard, and then the Minister of Interior, we've been going there, doing the following up to date. So I think this the extension of the road, that makes us to take an opportunity to do that, because where the market women are selling their things over there, they are at the roadside, and it is not good. It doesn't speak well. So we, the chief, we have to take upon ourselves that we need to, find a place for them and then relocate them over there so that they can get a place to sell their things. It wouldn't be like they will be there, and then when the road is being constructed, and then they will not find a place to, sell their things. So that is the intention, because anytime what we have been hearing from camp, it is so bad, it's so appalling. And then that is the reason why, because what I have find out that the refugee board has released, or the government has released the land for the Nananum. So if the Nananum want to do anything on the land, it is just that we have written several letters to them that this is what we intend to do. So it is something that we have planned on already, not we just take a decision and just do something which doesn't speak good word to us.
All right. Okay, so Nana, we hear you, but I just want to ask, were there provisions made for the people living in that area? Like a place for them to stay after you have demolished their houses? Obviously, there are families, there are women, there are children. Any provisions made for them?
Not entire camp. They are a portion of the land that we have demolition, not entire camp. So where we wanted to use for the market and then a lorry station and other things, that is where the demolition took place. So it is not entire camp.
Okay. So
yeah.
Was the district assembly aware of your plans to do this demolition exercise?
I think, like I said earlier on, that we have several letters have been written to the district assembly, the chief executive. Okay. And then nothing sort has come out. Okay. So we can't sit down, and we can't sit down for such attitude of violence to continue over there. So we need to reduce the crime activities over there. It's so bad. It's so bad that a town like Buduburam, anytime we've been hearing people committing, killing people and here and there. So, yes, the letters, we have written so many letters to the chief executive of Porting, that is Gumwa East. So, we are looking for an opportunity. That is the opportunity that came out was the extension of the road. Yeah. So, yes. So, we need to, quickly find a place for the market women and then relocate them to where they can, you can put them there and then sell their things. So, that is what came into our mind.
I'm wondering, as traditional leaders, the lands of Gumwa, are under your care. Would it, I don't know how, what your plans are and how things can work, but I was just wondering if it was not possible for us to have a situation where you provide another place or another area for the people who have been displaced as a result of demolition to, set up new, living quarters, living places.
Yeah, I think we have a discussion about it, and then we still, having a roundtable discussion that quickly we should find a way of those that, can't get a place to sleep. For now, we are going to provide them a provision, provide them a place for them to, the place for them to sleep for now, and then see how best we can come out with certain one of two things, and then it's come to find a place for them. So we are still having a meeting so that those that they can't find, they can't get a place to sleep. We will see how best we can help them.
Okay. Nana, sorry, don't you think this meeting should have been had before you actually started the demolition? Don't you think you should have had the discussion of, okay,
yes,
where are we going to keep these people after the demolition?
Yes, I think that, like I said earlier on, I said we have written several letters to them. Even the refugee board, they have so many letters that has been written to them that we want to use the place. The Nanamu want to use the place. So it is not that we just, came out and then start doing the demolition. No, there several letters have been written to them, and then they are aware, they know. They are aware, they know. And then the place have been given it to the Nananum since 2010.
I see.
If my sense bear me right, because yes, since 2010. So they keep on going and coming and keep on going and coming, and then it is creating so many agitation. So we are begging them that they should bear with us, that we are want to do something that will benefit Buduburam. So, and then Petemai as a whole.
All right. Let's speak to Dennis Yoko Guion. He's Dennis, are you still on the line?
I'm on the line listening to him carefully.
Yes. Yes. So Dennis, what do you make of what the chief is saying?
I'm sorry to say, what the chief is saying is not true. And if they are giving this land since 2010, we are the occupant. It is not to our knowledge. It is not to our knowledge. And we came here through the government of Ghana. And if there is anything or such that you want to do, I think the refugee board have the authority. The refugee authority will come back to us, but not to stay that way and use you.
Okay.
Now you have demolished everything that we have, and you say you are discussing. It will be later. Discussing to do what? Discussing to take away. It is a premeditated thing.
What they are
assuming that somebody have died.
What Dennis? They are
now let's come back to the issue of people's city.
Okay.
The United Nations built a police station here. You have made this place with a divisional police command office. Let's go to that office. 2021, I challenge even the DC and come up with a record. How many Liberians are involved in armed robbery?
Yeah.
And there was no record of such. So what are you so lying on people, decent people like us? Is that how to get your land out?
Yeah. Okay.
This isn't the best way to do it.
Okay. We want to talk to Tete Paddy, who is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana Refugee Board. Mr. Paddy, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes,
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Now, there are so many layers to this conversation, but let's keep it simple. What do you know about this demolition exercise that has taken place?
Right. I guess we don't have a lot of time, but there's so much that I would have liked to clarify.
Okay.
It's got to do with the assertions made by the former refugees.
Okay.
So I'll come to your question.
Okay.
But just to set the record straight, the amount that was given for the refugees at the time who wanted to locally integrate,
yes,
was not meant to take care of them for the rest of their lives.
Okay.
The basis for local integration, first of all, it was a voluntary choice between going back home and staying here.
Yeah.
And the basis for staying here was that they had more socio-economic ties in Ghana than they had in Liberia.
It makes sense.
And that they would be able to look after themselves here and their families better than they would if they would return to Liberia. So the whole idea was that you're going to be on your own to start.
Yes.
Now, $400 per person was what was given. Yes, it was $800 cedis at the time.
Yeah.
But I think he's being a bit disingenuous by asking if 800 cedis can do anything.
Yeah.
$400 per person, if you had a family of 5, you know what that meant. Now, what it also meant was that it was just an amount to help them along.
Oh yeah.
They were given a free passport, free residence permit. They were given 1 year's national health insurance enrollment.
Okay.
So these were just to help them along after they had said that we can live in this country on our own.
Yeah.
So that let's put that into perspective.
Okay.
Now, with respect to knowing about the demolition, I think Nana said it that over 3 years ago, they indicated they wanted to have the place demolished. In fact, bulldozers came on site, and the Ghana Refugee Board stepped in and asked that they put that on hold while we engage the residents who are former refugees mostly. And so we did.
Okay.
Not only us, the Liberian government came over, vetted them, took their data, had a discussion with them about returning home. Now, we told them that land does not belong to government. And so you need to move on. After all, you have said that you can stay in this country on your own.
Yeah.
And we made it very clear at the time. Fortunately, I was here, that you are not expected to remain on Buduburam Camp. But of course, nobody drove them out, and so they continue to stay there.
Okay.
And if you're living somewhere for free, why not?
Yeah.
But we have sensitized them over the years, and it actually gets a bit frustrating. And they always come back to tell you that how do you expect them to live here and so on. But I think that they're not being very, very, very honest with us.
Right. So moving forward, this is happening right now. Where do you see this heading? Dennis, I'll let you speak shortly. But Mr. Paddy, before you leave us, moving forward, where do you see this heading?
Well, these are people who live in Ghana as foreign nationals.
Yes.
With residence permit. Most of them anyway. Some of them are not even documented.
I don't want Paddy to leave the land before I do my final talking.
No. I'll give you a final take afterwards.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are people who are living in Ghana on their own. There are Ghanaians there who have also been displaced.
Okay.
Ghana Refugee Board is not going to do anything to assist them.
Oh, okay.
A lot of information, and Nana will bear with me, a lot of information have gone out to them to let them understand that they are not supposed to stay on that piece of land. They're supposed to. And when we implemented the cessation clause way back in 2012, we told them that you cannot continue to stay here in Buduburam. And it's been, I've been on several platforms in several fora with Liberians, and the same thing is said over and over again. And they keep coming back with the same. And when I finish speaking, I won't get a chance to rebut, but he will come and say the same things again. And honestly, there are foreign nationals living in this country who are not being supported by government or by Ghana refugees.
Yeah. And
they are foreign nationals living in Ghana. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Tete Paddy. Dennis.
Yeah.
What do you make of what Mr. Paddy is saying?
Before I started my conversation with you today, I said that Paddy is always in the habit of making us historics. You said you gave everybody 400 per your list. We said that the breakdown here. You said the family here should receive 400. Even if I'm 20 some more year honor my father, I should receive $200. The documents are still there. 2, you said you gave a resident permit for us to stay in Ghana. Let's come back to the resident permit. There's some restrictions you place in our resident permit. You can work and do business for reward in Ghana. We were on VOA, and you said you made that mistake to the world. The global world is aware. Where do you expect us to go? Where do you expect us to go?
No, wait. What are you saying?
You rectify that. You place in our resident permit. If you say I'm lying, the resident permit is available.
I think
you don't work and do business for reward in Ghana. It's in our resident permit, but you want us to be integrated in Ghana. Am I lying on you? The documents are there. You said the family has to receive $400, which was $800 at the time. The dependent should get $200, which was $400 at the time. Am I lying on you with the party?
No, that was the conversion rate at the time. So yes.
What kind of conversion rate? Do you get everybody $400? I want the Ghanaians to know. You are making a claim that you gave each party $400, and I'm telling you, the family here was $400. Even if you were 30 years older your father, you will receive $200. Am I lying? I want to confirm that.
No, but Dennis, to be fair, he said that was supposed to be a bit of money to help you along, okay? And it was based on a decision that you made to say that you will be able to stay in Ghana and take care of your family by yourself.
Sir, there was nobody on this second that were listening to the party or the refugee board that we are giving you $400 as a hair to live in Ghana, except that the parties, these are people who run the propaganda here. They campaigned for this thing because they knew what they were getting. They campaigned for it. How many years today? So you still come back to say the same old thing, and you come on air to tell people that I gave them, I gave them. Ratify the resident permit you are giving the refugees. You said don't work and do business in the country. Where do we go and live?
So your residence permit doesn't allow you to work in Ghana?
Not to work, I even do business. He's there. He listening to me. If you want me to forward a copy, well, I can forward to you.
But that's problematic. Mr. Paddy.
So,
yes.
The Ghana Immigration Service had standard residence permits that they gave to persons who wanted to stay here. The permit that they issued indicated that, and what he's saying is true, it indicated that you're not allowed to work. No, you're not. I can't remember the exact wording. But it implied that you work. Can I finish? I kept quiet when you were speaking, please. So it indicated there was some indications that they couldn't work with it.
Okay.
But we had several sessions with them, and then we explained to them. Now I remember. The permit says Ghana Refugee Board.
Okay.
So Ghana Refugee Board is the employer.
Okay.
Now, obviously, Ghana Refugee Board is not the employer, and that's because they had to amend. They couldn't change the format instantly.
Okay.
Now, we explained to them that it only means that if any employer wants to employ you and they see your permit that says your employer is Ghana Refugee, refer them to us and we'll explain to them that they can employ you.
Okay.
And if you have any, or you explain to them, and if they still don't understand or they still are challenged, they refer to us. And we did explain to some employers who are happy and employed Liberians. Yeah. But they still go back to it. And it really does get
so it is challenging, though. I mean, I understand it. So why hasn't the Ghana Immigration Service created a proper format that makes them to be able to work permanently here, since we gave them the option? We didn't drive them out. We gave them the option to stay and to be able to take care of their families. So I think that, to be fair, we also need to do our part to facilitate that process for them, so that they don't always have to refer to the Ghana Refugee Board, because in a certain sense, quote unquote, they are no longer refugees.
I totally agree with you.
Okay.
And indeed, the Ghana Immigration Service has made that alteration. And going forward, people who are renewing and new ones that are being issued do not have that problem on the residence permit.
I see.
Right. So, Mr. Paddy, talking about the resident permit, what's the duration of that particular resident permit?
So again, we had the initial was a year or 2 years. I think it was 2 years. And then it was renewed. And it was very cumbersome getting people to bring their passports again, renewing them, and so on. So I think it was a year, 2 years, and then those who came back got 5 years. But again, we learned from that. So for the Ivorians, for instance, we are issuing them with indefinite residence permits straight away. But with the Liberians at the time, there was a lot of conversation that went on, discussions. You know, Ghana Immigration Service has their rules, and the insistence was that you need to get an initial 1 year, if I remember correctly, that has to be renewed before you qualify for indefinite. And so the renewals took place, and each time we were renewing, the numbers went down. And we kept pointing it out to them that it's a bit difficult, and then the passports would expire. We had challenges, and they had challenges. I admit to that, but we were prepared, and we have always been prepared to work with them. Whenever there are challenges, they come back to us. Those who come back to us, we address the issues. No system is perfect. We improve on the system as we go along. But I think that the the sticking to that position of nobody has helped us, I think it's not good enough. And by the way, the grant that was given to them was given to all Liberians in the sub-region. It wasn't only Ghana that hosted Liberians.
Yeah.
All the countries along the sub-region hosted Liberians. And it was the same cash grant, and it was given to them by the UNHCR. We don't have that kind of money to be given to refugees. We do our bit. We provide all kinds of amenities and so on for free for refugees. But the UNHCR provided that cash grant, and it cut across the sub-region. So I think, and indeed, all these arrangements of passports, residence permits, cut across all the countries that hosted Liberian refugees.
I see.
So we just keep going back and forth and back and forth. I think it's unfair on us. I think it's unfair on UNHCR and everybody else.
All right. Well, thank you for making time for us this morning, Mr. Paddy. Dennis, are you still on the line?
I'm still on the line.
Okay. So what are you going to do moving forward?
The issue is that I listened to Mr. Paddy Kinley. He's talking about the cross in West Africa UN flag. There is no refugees that have been borders with only refugee camp in Nigeria. Those that are in San Pedro in Cote d'Ivoire, nobody bothering them. Since you know that the condition was not good for the people of Ghana, you will have accepted it. You accepted it. And you came and campaign that if you do this, this is going to happen to you. Have you forgotten so soon? Is it because nothing is coming now?
So
Paddy used to be here like 24 hours a day because things were coming. How those police stations were constructed, even the Fatemai, the school that wasn't constructed. Is it not refugees funding?
So
the issue is aside that he will come and say and tell people, we told them, he has not said anything to anybody.
I want to find out from you. He made mention of the fact that the new work permits that are being issued don't have. The new residence permits, that are being issued no longer have the clause that doesn't allow you to work in Ghana.
If you want me to give you the more recent one, I will just send it to you. Yeah. And the clause is still there.
We would like to see that.
Ghana Refugee Board.
Yes, we would like to see that.
If I'm employing Tamale, as you contact Ghana Refugee Board, the same clause is still there. No work, a business for reward is still there.
And when you said
the
recent one,
when we had the interview of VOA 2001, that they were going to ratify. Why are they not ratified? If you want me to produce the more recent one, I will still give it to you.
We would like to see the most recent one, so please do send them to us so that we can see that.
I will get those who get the more recent one and send it to you.
Please do. We would like to see that.
I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
So for the issue of crime, Liberians are not criminals. What the chief is saying. The police, you can even contact them.
No,
records on Liberians who are criminals here.
I don't think he's accusing you.
Nobody's accusing Liberians of being criminals.
Yeah. But he said the place have been packed up with criminals.
Yes, okay.
And we have a police command here. If you know there's a criminal, why can't you pick that out?
Dennis, let's give you context for what he said. All right. What he was saying was what you see, and the entire time the story has been going on, what's been said is that there are spaces in the Liberian camp that have been used as a hideout for criminals. So they run to the Buduburam camp in some corners of the Buduburam camp, and they come and hide there. Not that they are from there. Do you understand? So that's a difference.
It's not the same criminals you're talking about. They used to demolish the camp because there were no police. It's the same guys you're talking about, the chief. They're the same guys that were intimidating people, that were touching people during the day of demolition.
No, he's saying that they demolished the spaces and the places where people come and hide out.
No, he's saying that it's the same people that are criminals that were used to demolish the place.
Where they demolished is not where people are hiding. It's not true. You can come and see for yourself, and I can give you all where they are demolished. It's not hiding.
I see, but the police on record have actually said in times past that people have been hiding in some parts of the camp. When they go and commit crimes, then they go and hide in certain parts of the Buduburam camp.
So if you know where they are hiding in Buduburam camp as a police, what do? Is to come and demolish people or damage people things? Is that the solution to the problem? Now you are demolishing Buduburam camp, there will be no crime again, right?
Interesting question.
Question.
Thank you for speaking.
Let me realistic, because maybe you are demolishing Buduburam camp. Buduburam is the one that hosting criminals in Ghana. Since you are demolishing Buduburam camp, there will be no criminal activity in Ghana again. Let's get that quote unquote.
That's a very good point you're raising. We appreciate your time this morning. We hope that the authorities that can do something about this situation are paying attention, and that as we've shone light on the problem, certain things will be done to ameliorate your conditions. We want to,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. We want to wrap up with Nana Abuata, the second chief of Gomwa Fete. Nana.
Yes.
Thank you for staying on with us. So all this back and forth, you've heard all the different things that are going on. It's your land. It's your place. You are the final traditional authority in the area. Nana, what can we do? What can we do? Hello? Nana?
Yes, we want the betterment.
Nana, go ahead.
So what we intend to do, we need to, reduce the crime rates at the camp. And at the same time, the market women who are selling at I want my friend to bear with us that the land belongs to the Nananum, and then once it belongs to the Nananum, we could see now when you go to, excuse me to say, when you go to Zongo community, it is well structured, well laid out here and there. Unlike Buduburam, you could see people have built on a road, and then that place is like a slum. So they should bear with us. We want the betterment of so what we are doing, we want the market women to get a place to sell their commodities or to sell their things, and then also which any time it has been a headache for the Nananum of Gomafet and the Buduburam as and then also the country as a whole. So what we are doing is better. Like I said, we are having a round table with my.
I think we've lost him.
Okay.
Doesn't have a place to sleep. We can find a place for them, and then.
Sorry, Nana, your
make sure they get a place to sleep and then see how things will move on.
All right, okay. Thank you very much. We've been speaking with Nana Abuata the second. He is the chief of Gomwa Fete. And there he was reiterating something he had said earlier, and he was saying that they are having discussions as a traditional council to look for ways of temporarily housing those who have been displaced by the demolition exercise, and then later on look for a more permanent way of resolving the situation. Well, I think all of this rests under the district assembly, and so I think the DCE needs to you have a lot of work on your hands this morning, and needs to call all parties to discussion to figure out a permanent solution, not a whitewashed, easy band-aid type of solution. No, a permanent solution that we don't have to come back and revisit this conversation again. Well, thank you for watching the Community Development segment here on Breakfast Daily.